Hello guys, welcome back to the channel, and as usual we are doing our weekly prediction once again. So before we start, we look at the economic calendar, which is our roadmap for trading for the forthcoming week. So on Monday we have red folder news coming from the United States. On Tuesday, same thing from the CAD. On Wednesday, the JPY pairs, the USD, as well as the New Zealand dollar. Then on Thursday, the AUD, the Swiss franc, the GBP, the USD, and the CAD, they all have red folder news that will be dropping. Then on Friday, we have a red folder news dropping on the CAD, Canadian dollar. So you observe this pair and there will be volatility across the market on these pairs. So let's look at our chart. So we'll be analyzing the DXY and a couple of other pairs. So before we start to analyze the DXY, we want to make reference to our previous market analysis, where last week I told you that we could see some retracement from this point here, since price has dipped into this monthly zone here, which is a fair value gap. Then going into the week, we should expect price to trade into this weekly fair value gap, and if price should trade into the midpoint of it, fair enough, we should see retracement, and then the market could drop, or the market could trade over this gap and continue trading upward. But however, the week ended with price closing at the bottom of the gap, like a full body close below it. So what this could indicate for us is that price could still be willing to trade downwards, right? So we'll be looking at price trading into this zone this week if this bearish move on this weekly chart is sustained. So that's something we should be looking out for. Then on the daily, you can see how price has traded into this gap, took out this high. It does not mean that, okay, maybe you are what you're seeing is a market structure shift. It could be a market structure shift, but ultimately price, I believe, is coming down, right? So because you've seen this market structure shift on the daily, that gives you an indication that the market might be bullish on this daily time frame. So you should be on the lookout for that. But ultimately, if we get a continuation of this bearish move that has rejected from this fair value gap, then we're expecting price to continue trading downwards into these zones and ultimately into our weekly fair value gap that is resting just at this point. So be on the lookout for that. But in this market, it's just a game of probability and anything can happen. So guys, just be flexible with your buyers. You've seen these market structure shifts, and again on the weekly time frame, you've seen how price is rejecting from this fair value gap. So you need to observe the market very well, look at price action. And again, another thing I want to point to your notice is you see how this candle closed with the body outside this gap on Friday. That to me is an indication that the market can continue trading downwards. So with that, for now, my buyers on the dollar index, I'm bearish on it. So what that will imply is that EURUSD, GBPUSD, dollar based pair will be bullish. So let's look at the EURUSD. Now let's go to the monthly charts. Let's see what price has done. So previously on this pair, I told you that price has dipped into this zone here, which is a monthly fair value gap, and we saw a rejection. And last week I told you guys that price could dip into this fair value gap, but if it should closes below it, then we should look at price trading into all of these zones. But if price should trade to the midpoint of it and rejected, we'll see price coming to tap liquidity. First of all, trade into this fair value gap here. Let me bring it out so you see this fair value gap. Can see price trading into it and ultimately taking liquidity here. So but price has not even traded into the midpoint of this weekly fair value gap, but it's rejecting away from it. So that could be an indication that we should be looking to continue buying this market if this bullish move is sustained. You feel me? So you're seeing this break of structure from this monthly fair value gap, and you're seeing how price has traded into this zone. You can see how it's trading out of it. So we'll continue to look all through this week if this bullish move is going to be sustained, and if price will continue to trade upward into all of these zones that we've brought out. So let's look at the 4-hour charts. So this is the 4-hour chart, and you can see as how price is rejected, broken structure and all of that, and is rejecting away from it. So just be on the lookout and get a good confirmation for a bullish setup for the EURUSD going into this week. But ultimately, if you see price taking out this low, if you see price coming back to take out this low and this low, to imply that price will continue trading downwards, probably towards this weekly midpoint of the weekly fair value gap. So put all of these things in mind. Nothing is so sure in this market. So let's look at GBPUSD. So on the monthly time frame, let's see what price is doing. Alright, so this is the monthly time frame, and you can remember these zones. This is an order block on the monthly time frame which price has tapped into. Then on the weekly time frame, we saw how price rejected from it, and this weekly fair value gap, price did not even bother to tap into it. So what has price been doing all through the week? So that price, when it tapped into this monthly order block, which is denoted with this line here, you can see that price has been consolidating. So going into the week, we don't know if price will dip into this fair value gap or take liquidity down. Then we could see that bullish expansion that might just happen, and just see price doing something like this, tap into this zone, then expand outward, since we are bearish on the dollar index and bullish on all dollar based pair. So that could happen either ways. Just be ready. Let's look at gold. So this is almighty gold, and for a while now, since I've been analyzing this market, we have been bullish on it. So this is the monthly chart. Price has taken out the previous month's high, and then you don't really know to what extent it can trade into before it retreats. It starts retracing down. Nobody can predict that, but ultimately be bullish on this pair until you get a bearish reversal. Last week told you that this fair value gap here will be key to push price downwards, or price could find support on it and continue trading upwards. Then you can see this strong bullish move. You never can tell if it will continue, but your eyes should be trained to see these inefficiencies in price. So on the ground that you see price reversing, you can just see price probably reversing to tap into this weekly fair value gap. Price could tap into it and continue upwards, right? And continue upwards. In that case, you can easily target this previous week high as a draw on liquidity. That is to say, if price will retrace, but there are no guarantee. Price could just continue trading upwards. So let's look at the daily chart. On this daily chart again, another zone that should be of interest to you is this daily fair value gap. Leave it on your charts. Price could just trade into it and reject from here. So these are points where the market can easily reject from. So let's look at the 4-hour chart. Right, so you can just see price on Friday, it was just consolidating, didn't really move. So let's see what this new trading week will have for us. Ultimately, we are bullish on this pair. Lastly, let's look at the EURCAD. So if you remember when I called this, I just traded into a 3-month zone where price has been rejecting. So you always expect a reaction from price. So price rejected, and on the monthly you can see that the rejection is just so strong. But critically, if you look, there's an order block here. Price violated it, took liquidity here, traded into this rejection block, and price has rejected. So on the weekly time frame, we've seen this rejection and followed by this bearish move. But there is something else I want to bring to your attention. Hold on please. So like I said, there's something else I'm bringing to your attention. This weekly fair value gap that was created. So our price has traded into it this last week. So our price has traded into it, and price is rejecting away from it. So that should be a source of concern to you. So you can just see that price will just reject away from it and continue trading bullishly. Maybe take liquidity here or here, or price could just be consolidating around this zone. So be on the lookout for that. So this is the daily chart, and you've seen how price has traded into close to the midpoint of this weekly fair value gap, and you see this bullish rejection from it. So that could be an indication that price might not be interested in continuing this bearish move. But ultimately I called the market when it was here, and that gave me up to about 400 pips if I'm not mistaken. Let me see. Yeah, 416 pips, right? So when I was calling it, if you had entered from this point, that would have meant a lot by now. So going into this week, we'll just be observing to see if this is just a retractive move for this bearish move that has happened. Maybe price is doing something like this, retrace, then continue its bearish leg downwards. So could be saying that then ultimately your eyes should be looking at this zone, because there's an order block here. So price could trade into it, and from there the market could turn and start selling. But if price should trade above it, then there is no point selling this market. So these are my bias and my views for the market this week. If you have found value in the content that I've been dropping, I've been calling the market, and I will say 90% of the time it's been so, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, Head Pro Traders, share our video, and we'll appreciate a comment from you to tell us how we are doing or what you would love us to do. So thank you guys. Please do help to keep the channel growing. God bless you, and do have a happy trading week. See you later.